Welcome to the Raise podcast. I'm Carol Barwick. We're here to raise your confidence and inspire your creativity. Each episode, we will have a different guest who will be discussing our Raise word. The Raise word is a word that will encourage you or empower you and at times inspire you to explore the word a little more for yourself. Well, hello everybody and welcome to episode 4 of the Raise podcast. We've had some great guests so far and we're really looking forward to speaking to Beth Morgan today. We're going to be speaking about the word connections, and my connection to Beth is through singing and choirs, but I'm going to hand you over to Beth to tell us a little bit more about all the amazing things that she does. Morning, Beth.
Good morning, Carol. Thank you for having me today. It's really great to be here. So so like you said, I run choirs. That's what I do. I run lots of community choirs, adult choirs, and typically they're choirs in the community. So they're all about well-being and they're all about getting people together and like you said, finding connections, social connections with each other through singing together, which can make you feel really good. So my choir is called the Great Day Choir because it's all about giving you a great day. And our strapline, I suppose, is sing, have fun, feel great. So it's about bringing people together.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. And that kind of connection, I mean, they say that music is a universal language, don't they? And I see that in my own community choir, that connection through the people themselves, and then connecting to the songs, the different songs and the lyrics. And I love the name, The Great Day, because so many people after they finish choir will say, I'm so glad I did it today. I wasn't thinking of coming maybe, but I'm so glad that I did. And I think people underestimate how powerful singing can be. Beth, tell us a little bit about your journey with singing. What kind of connections did you make early on to bring you to this place now?
Yeah, so I started singing in primary school. You can probably hear from my accent that I grew up in Australia, and singing was a really fundamental part of primary music. But for me, it went a little bit further because we had a music teacher who came to the school when I was in about year 4. I must have been about 9 years old, and she was really passionate about choirs. So she got a choir together. There must have been 60 in this choir, and she would enter us into Eisteddfods and competitions. And we were a school kind of on the fringe of the city, and there were some really big guns schools there, and we would go in and I remember that we beat some of these schools. So she really instilled a passion for singing at quite a high level as well, even though it was primary school. So I suppose that's kind of where it's all come from. And I don't know about you, but I still remember the songs I sang in that choir, and I still remember the harmonies that not even that I sang particularly, but that she taught the altos or the harmony section. I can remember all of that. So I love the fact that when you learn a song, it can stay with you right through your whole life. It kind of becomes a part of who you are in your journey. And so I suppose that's kind of where it started. But then I've gone on and studied music and went into secondary music education. And again, my very first teaching post, I got sent, which is kind of what happens in the state of Queensland. You get sent to a school as opposed to here in the UK where you apply to a school. And I got sent to a school which was 24-hour drive away from where I actually live. So I grew up in the capital city, and this school was right at the very edge of the Queensland western border. So it was outback Australia, a mining town with about 25,000 people. It was kind of the place where, as a teacher, as a trainee teacher, you go, oh, I hope I don't get sent to, one of these places. And it was one of those. Anyway, that's where I got sent. But at that school, I had a group of kids who would turn up at 7:30 every Wednesday morning, and that was our choir practice. and they really enjoyed singing. So we would do a practice before school when it was nice and cool. It's very hot in that place. But it was also very isolated there. And what I learnt really quickly, I'm quite introvert, and what I learnt was that I needed to make connections with, I needed to talk to people and find connections with people. Otherwise, I was going to have 3 or 4 years of being quite lonely in this place. So I got to know the other music teacher, who turned out to be a really massively inspiring mentor, really, took me under my wing. And he was passionate about choirs and has gone on to become quite well known in Australia for his youth choir work nationally, a man called Paul Holly. Anyway, he took me under his wing for the first 2 years of teaching and taught me a lot, and helped me take risks, I suppose. He would say, come and help me do this. And I'd be like, oh, I've never done that before. You know, so you take these risks and you try it. And then when he moved on, I ended up taking the roles, some of the musical director roles that he'd sort of established, and did that for 2 years. And that really put me in good stead. But it was all about, you know, that, I think, had I not made that connection, met that person, and then connected with the other music teachers in the town, then I don't think I'd be here where I am today doing the other choir work that I'm doing today. So that's kind of the early days where it sort of started, I suppose.
That's fantastic. I know that a good teacher can change a life, but there's something about music teachers. It was always music teachers for me as well. Certain people that just see potential in other people. I don't know if it's a creative thing, or I just happen to have, and you just happen to have, that particular set of music teachers that really saw kind of the potential and the things that you could be doing in the future. But what I love is that you then became a music teacher. And you then became that person that was able to be a connection for all those children. And I can really visualize your choir in Australia, sitting outside in the sunshine. I mean, it is sunny today, but we can't really say that we're a sunny climate, can we?
They were amazing, because this town where my first teaching post, it's a place called Mount Isa. It's a mining town, so it's quite hard going out there. It is isolated. The next bigger town was not a 9-hour drive away to the coast. Massively isolated, but they were so enthusiastic about their singing, and they got really involved in it. It was great. It's interesting what you say about music teachers and people kind of looking for potential in other people. And I, you know, on so many levels, is that I think, you know, my secondary music teacher said to me, look, you could audition for, you know, the conservatoire, you could audition for university. Now my family, nobody in my family had been to university, so going through that process was huge, and I suppose my parents were aspirational in that way, but also I think that it's so powerful when we, if we can identify people who can't see it yet in themselves, something that they could get involved in, and if we're able to kind of spot that and think, well, okay, if I give you this role, or I give you that job, or I encourage you to take a path and try something and to take a risk, I think that's just really amazing and powerful. And as choir leaders, we're doing that all the time with people who come into the door and say, you know, when I was in primary school, the teacher told me to mime, or the teacher told me to go and play hockey. I've heard you know, from a PE teacher at my school, said, well, you go out there and play netball or hockey, because, you know, you sound so bad. And these people come through our door really holding on to that one sentence that somebody has said to them, probably untrained random teacher, and they think they can't sing. So I love the fact as choir leaders we can take people who think they really can't do it, and I love to prove it wrong.
Yeah, me too.
And when the penny drops and they go, wow, actually, I wish I'd discovered this earlier. I wish I hadn't waited till I was 50 when I had a bit of confidence in myself to walk through the door. It's a really special role.
Yeah, and actually, when it comes to connections, when you connect with those things that are said that are negative, it can be so powerful, can't it? If somebody, I have so many people in my singing lessons and they say, I can't really sing. That's the first thing that they say. Or when they come through the choir door, I'll stand at the back. I don't really want to stand out. And I immediately think, right, you're going to be doing a solo in a year's time, because I know that you can. And I don't know about you, Beth, but I find people that come to my choir on their own so courageous. They come in and they don't know anybody, and I just think, but you're here. You've done the hard stuff. Let's just do the fun stuff now.
So one of the choirs that I'm really privileged to be involved in is the Military Wives Choir. So I lead the Bristol Military Wives Choir, and that is about people who have moved to a place. They've been posted, their family's been posted to a place, and typically they know nobody. And this happens typically every 2 years or so. It's a really transient sort of life situation to be in. And the whole premise of that choir is that somebody can walk through the door and have a instant community of people who understand their situation and can kind of become friends really quickly, because everybody understands. And some of these people, they have their arm twisted by the neighbour, says, look, come along to choir. and it is really courageous, I think, to walk through the door and to come into a situation of this big group of people. But I think one of the beautiful things is that with choirs, it's like magic, because your voices blend on the whole. Your voice as a soloist might, and I've always had a little bit of a hang up about my own voice, but actually in a choir, the voices all blend, and the harmony. I think it's sort of something a little bit magical, actually. So it makes people feel really good.
And we were saying earlier on about the connection to the actual songs. One of my kind of almost rules in my choir is, if a piece of music touches you, let it touch you, because again, talking about that kind of magic, I think there are times when there are songs and you're at a certain place in your life and it just speaks to you. What you were talking earlier on about, this song that has followed you through your whole life. And I love the fact that as choir leaders, we can maybe choose songs that people then have through their whole lives. That really excites me, and that connection to lyrics, that again, sometimes we do a song and people will do it, they'll have done it as a karaoke song and never really thought about the lyrics, and when you put the lyrics in front of them, it kind of takes on a new meaning, and I love that. What song do you think your choir connects best with? What's the one that really gets them going, do you think?
Oh, that's such a good question. So I'm a bit like you in that I really love choosing songs quite deliberately. I choose songs for my choirs that have really positive, uplifting, powerful lyrics. Or they tell a story, even if it's not a story that people can relate to, whether it's a story about something being joyful, or a story about moving on, or a story about loss. There's lots of different stories which are human and which everybody can resonate with. We have a song in the Military Wives Choir network called Stronger Together. And it was written at the very beginning of it all by Gareth Malone, and I still come back to that song because it is all about connection. It is all about what we're talking about here today, about people supporting each other. And we have another song actually in the Military Wives Choir network called "Carry Me," and that is about the music carrying us. But back to Stronger Together, I think, and to do with the Military Wives Choir network, their motto is "Sing, Share, Support." Sing, share, support. Really, really simple but really powerful. Because, and I like doing this where we sing the song and we look at the lyrics. And I've started doing this more and more and more now. So that particularly since we've been on Zoom, just let's talk about the lyrics. How does it resonate with you? Do you see any lines within the song which really resonate with you today? And people will say all sorts of things and share all sorts of things. And I think one of the most powerful parts of a choir is that if you, like what you were saying before, if a song moves you, and if as choir leaders we can give our, and as communities, we can give the other people in the community permission to feel and to express freely how they're feeling, if they're being moved by a song, and to have permission, and that's okay to do that. And then if people share different stories about what lyrics or the song means to them, and sometimes sharing quite a vulnerable way, intimate way, it means that the community can come around and support. And it's only when you allow, and that's how you get to know your community, isn't it? When you kind of allow them to support you. And I see this particularly with the Military Wives Choir that I have almost week in, week out, where somebody will share a story, and it's kind of come out of the theme of the song. And then the community can come around and say, yeah, actually, do you know what, I can relate to that, or I've been in this situation. And then people realise they're not alone. They're not alone in what is going on in their lives, that there are other people there who their story might resonate with them, and who can and be with them.
I love that. So what did you say? Sing, share, support.
Sing, share, support. I used to think they're not in the right order. It should really be share, support, and sing, because I think with that particular choir, it's about the social side of it, and we also sing. But now I think they have got it right. I think it is about we come together and we do this activity of the singing, and through the singing we can share things with each other. We can share our experiences, and as a result of that, then we can support the community. We can support each other.
I think the singing is such an important vehicle, because we were talking about this lone person that comes on their own. And if you have someone, particularly maybe from your Military Wives Choir, that comes on their own, it might be that the last thing that they want to do is share anything about what's going on. They're just there to sing. Singing is easy, sharing is difficult. But then if you add into the mix what you said about looking at the lyrics and sharing the lyrics, somebody else doing that might then make you think, oh yeah, that is how I feel. And I wasn't able to say it myself, but now they've said it, I feel brave enough to say me too. And we know the strength of me too, and we weren't going down that road today, but that the strength of saying, yeah, I connect with you in that same way, that's really powerful. But I think having singing first is important, because I know there are people in my choir, and the singing is what they're there for, and then they don't realize what else is going to happen behind the scenes, and how this amazing, I just see these friendships unfold and these little stories unfold. I mean, it's making me so emotional. I miss my choir so much. I know you do too. You have successfully managed to do it on Zoom, despite crazy connections like we've been experiencing today. How is it running a choir on Zoom? Do you find that the connections between people have got lost a little bit? Are they stronger? What's it like?
Well, do you know, I've been really surprised by this, because I suppose when I a year ago when I transitioned onto Zoom, I kind of did it with a real determination because I wanted to keep my community together, and I really wanted to keep them, I suppose, their network together. And this is my Great Day Choir as well as my Military Wives Choir, and they've been amazing. And what's happened? My Great Day Choir is probably the really interesting one here because is that they were 4 choirs in 4 different venues, and except for a concert or maybe gigs, we were doing gigs once a month or a concert twice a year, they wouldn't actually mix because they were in different venues in different cities and they wouldn't see each other. But with Zoom, they've ended up, because they could come to any of the sessions, and I've still run my 4 sessions, is that they could turn up to any of them, and they've actually started to get to know each other as a community across the choir.
That's fantastic.
And some of them are saying, I know more people in this choir now because we've been doing this like every week almost, with the exception of the summer, for a whole year now. And some of them are saying, I'm a little bit sad to go back in person because I know that I'm not going to see these people so regularly.
Okay.
But the other thing with my Military Wives Choir is that it's allowed us to stay connected with people who have moved away.
Okay.
And it's allowed us to reconnect with other people who had moved away, say 2 or 3 years ago. We've got quite strong alumni, and some of them have come back because we're on Zoom, and location is just a non-issue.
Doesn't matter, does it? Yeah.
On Zoom. So if you put aside the whole thing that, okay, the choir's muted and, for the moment you can't hear each other, we all know that we're there doing it. We all know that we're there singing together and we can see each other, and I can see that everyone's having a really, really good time. But it has meant that we can reconnect with people and stay connected. And I think when that particular choir goes back to in-person sessions, it will be, for some people again, it will mark the end of not an era, but the end of a time when some of those people we will have to say goodbye to again, because they're now we're in Bristol and they're now in Devon or France or Scotland. We've got people all over who've been joining us. So I think Zoom has brought out unexpected benefits that I wouldn't have seen. I wouldn't have believed actually a year ago.
Interesting. And isn't it interesting that if I said to 1.5 years ago, Beth, I really think that maybe you should mix all your choirs up and have people from all over the place, and I'm sure you can make it work, you'd say, do you know what? Just shush. I'm never going to be able to do that.
Well,
and yet Zoom has...
The irony of all of this is that about 2 years ago now, I did have a conversation with one of my Military Wives Choir ladies who was using Zoom a lot for work. And I was saying, I'd love to find an online way of keeping this together somehow, so I could keep in touch with these people who were always moving. People come into my Military Wives Choir and I know that they're going to go. It's so unlike your normal community choir where people come and then they stay for about 30 years and you have this typically. And I remember having that conversation, and it was in the back of my head, and then it's come to be, hasn't it? Sort of forced on us all. So maybe there's something there for the future.
Yeah, I had something like that. My dad started saying, that he would like to meet all the different people in my raise groups, because at the time I was doing story sessions and choirs and things in schools. And I did start to think about what a group would look like. But again, like you, just thinking, well, I mean, actually for us, we're around kind of Leeds, Wakefield, really. That's where most people are based. So it's more of a local thing. But I couldn't think about what a group would look like. And yet we've got this 700 strong Facebook group where all the different people from the Raise activities are in one group. And this podcast has come out of it. So it's really interesting how that works, isn't it? And nobody would have asked for COVID, but it's lovely to see the positives that coming out of that.
I mean, I really resonate with what you're saying there, because the other thing which for me that's come out of COVID is being less isolated as a choir leader.
Yeah.
And the creative choir leader, which has kind of came out of, because I wanted to connect with other people who were doing really positive things during the pandemic, and to be able to share stories with other people who are passionate about what I'm passionate about. And sometimes you think you're the only one, and sometimes it's really difficult to find other people who are kind of on the same sort of strange wavelength as you in terms of choirs and choir music and all the rest of it. And for me, that's been one of the most amazing, professionally amazing things to come out of lockdown, is that suddenly now I've got, I'm really privileged to have a group of choir leaders. I think we're like 600 now in the group, and it's you've got this community, this network of people who you can talk to and ask questions to, and so many people are saying, I felt really isolated before. I've never really thought about that. We all kind of do our own thing and really successfully do our own thing in our own community, but you know, there might not be anybody else in your community doing what you're doing. So hopefully, well, my aim for that is to really to help, you know, support and bring people together. So.
Yeah, and the creative choir leader is a fantastic way of doing that. So if we have got any choir leaders listening today, do get on Facebook and find the creative choir leader. And I love it because well, I think of myself as quite out there. I like to do mashups. My choir will tell you I'm always getting them to do weird stuff and workshop stuff. And sometimes I just think, am I just a bit of a maverick? Nobody else is ever going to understand. And then you meet other people doing the same thing and you think, okay, I'm not completely weird then. There are other people that enjoy doing it. Doing it too, and then getting ideas from each other as well. So it's a fantastic group to be a part of. So thank you as a choir leader for setting it up, because it's that connection with other people in a different way. And I think you're right, when you're leading something you often get forgotten, don't you? I'm not saying by the choir. I think your choir and my choir are really loyal and it's a family and it's wonderful, but you do get forgotten in terms of your professional development, and it's all on you, isn't it, to make that happen. And so to have a place where you can go and find out all these different things about, you know, vocal health training and the latest lockdown guidelines, heaven forbid. And it's really important though. It's really important. So yeah, thank you for setting that up, and the things that you're doing with the military wives. That's fantastic as well. I saw the film that was made. I know it's quite a while ago now, but yeah, there's something about that kind of group where those connections are going to be really important to them as well.
I think one of the things that I've learned out of all of this is that whatever you're passionate about, whatever it is, whether it's painting rocks or whether it's a sport or whether it's something really niche like restoring mowers or something like that, whatever you're passionate about, is that there will be in the world, there will be a community of people out there who also share your passion, and it's about getting out there and finding them. And I think that is one of the biggest things I've learnt that has come out of the past year. You can find people who are really interested in what you're interested in, even if there's nobody in your local area or your friendship group who are interested in that particular thing that you really love.
I love that. That's a lovely, lovely way to come to an end. So at the end, we always try and do a little bit of a challenge. So let's take on what Beth said. If you've got a passion and you think it's really niche and don't know where your kind of group of connectivity could be, go and have a look. Get on Facebook. Please, if you restore old mowers, please get in touch with me and tell me about that group. I'm not going to join it, but I'm really excited.
This is my dad. So my dad right now is restoring a vintage mower.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So there you go. Go and join Beth's dad in a Facebook group about vintage mowers. And then please get in touch and tell us. But yeah, when it comes to raising confidence and inspiring creativity, that potential that we talked about right at the beginning, if you see it in someone else over this next month, then please share it with them. And if you have an activity and you just think, I'd like to connect with other people, then do that little bit of extra work and see if you can find other people like it. Right, Beth, we come to the time where I am going to write you a verse about what you do. So I'm going to take a deep breath. And so, in the outback of Australia, where the children love to sing, Beth started a journey that then became a thing. A thread of song wove through the world and brought her to this place. Beth's one of those people that brings a smile to every face. Thank you, Beth, for what you do. Thank you for your singing. Thanks for the support you give and all the joy you're bringing. I'm going to leave it there.
Oh my God. I feel quite emotional listening to that. Thank you so much. This has been a real privilege talking with you and really inspiring talking with you as well. It's amazing what you're doing here. But thank you.
Thank you. Same to you. And yeah, please, people, if you're choir leaders or just if you sing, get in touch with Beth. She's absolutely inspiring. And all the things that she's talked about, seeing potential in people, that is what she does so well. So please get in touch with her. And as I said, get in touch with us if you have some crazy niche and you want to find your tribe. I'm quite excited about that now. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. And we'll speak to you. We'll hear from you again soon. Thank you. A final thought from Seb.
Learning is all about making mistakes.
This podcast, we hope you feel raised and inspired by this episode. Whilst we're not offering face-to-face classes currently, we are doing online singing lessons where you can have your voice raised as well as your confidence. If you would like to find out more, please visit our website at www.raiseforall.com or find us on social media on either our Facebook or Instagram page. Take care.